My name is Moses Powell. I've been studying Jiu-Jitsu for the last 20 years. I'm the master for Renda Visitashino. And at this particular time, I'm a senior master in the art of Jiu-Jitsu Te and Jiu-Jitsu Ryu.
.radio.net presents to you some of the most deadly jiu-jitsu masters in the world. Trained in the vicious urban inner-city street combat system of Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, this art was created by the legendary Dr. Moses Powell, the father of American contemporary jiu-jitsu and the greatest martial artist of the 20th century. This network brings together 4 radio shows 4 nights a week, starting with Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Each one teach one, with the Pia Master himself, Grandmaster Urban Muhammad, and his protege, Professor Terrence Hale. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Modern Combat Masters, hosted by the inheritor of GM Billy Davis Jiu-Jitsu, guru of his own Filipino system, and Sanukas Master, Grandmaster Daryl Sargent, and his co-host, Sifu Reseda de Jesus. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. is Professor Tom Curry's radio talk show, a Kenpo master and professor of Sanukas Ryu, 20 years law enforcement, senior tactical training instructor for intelligence retired, and author of the official Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu testing and training curriculum. And Friday nights at 8 p.m. is Making the Connection, hosted by the president of DocRadio.net, Grandmaster in the art of Sanukas Ryu and Soke of Kuroshi Kaikan martial arts system, and president of the Family of Sanukas organization, Soki Haisan Khalik, and his co-host, Shihan Farouk Gibbs. All of these shows can be linked to online by typing in docradio.net or listening live at the scheduled time by dialing 646-716-6825. DocRadio.net is also proud to present DocMagazine.net, the world's largest martial art magazine dedicated to Dr. Moses Powell, Sanukas Ryu Eye-to-Eye Jiu-Jitsu, Urban Tactical Street Self-Defense, and Streetology. Please join our Facebook group by typing in docradio.net and follow us on Twitter by typing docradio.net. Thank you for your support, and in the words of Doc, eye to eye, heart to heart, to the wall and back, os.
All right. Hello and welcome to Eye to Eye Radio. Welcome to Eye to Eye Radio on the Mat series, sponsored by the Senjo Kai and SenjoMartialArts.com, your premier Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu Academy, located in Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight we have a very special guest, Grandmaster Anaconda, who is also the president of the United Sanukas Family Association, that I will be interviewing along with my co-host and partner in crime, the architect, Furkan Shabazz. How we doing, Shabazz?
How you doing, Sensei? Us.
Very good, very good. All right, so now I want to get right into it and start with Grandmaster Anaconda. How we doing, Grandmaster Anaconda?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and thank both of you for having me this evening.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we'll let my man, my good co-host Shabazz, go ahead and start off.
Okay. Hi, Grandmaster Anaconda Mushaba. How you doing? How you doing today? How you doing this evening, sir? I'm doing beautiful this evening. Thank you. I just want to thank you for your time, and it's an honor, man. You know, we're talking to, the architects, and, you leave behind some big footprints and some big steps. So, just the fact that you're taking time to talk to us, man, it's an honor, sir. It's an honor. So I'm honor is mine. So I'm going to just jump into these questions. All right, so the first question I have is, you're the first Grandmaster, I've ever met in Sanukas Ryu. I noticed in your YouTube announcement you said Senior Grandmaster. So what is the difference between Senior Grandmaster and Grandmaster, and what was the event like when you received your 10th Dan?
Wow. Grandmaster is usually around a rank of 8th and 9th degree. 10th degree, you become Senior Grandmaster. But also, too, becoming the Senior Grandmaster wasn't just me receiving a rank of 10th Dan, but there was other things that Doc wanted from me personally. I was one of the very few who was able to do exactly what Doc said. He said, take what I give you and go out in the world and create and come back and thrill me, come back and teach me something. And so I was able to do that, and I was able to help, and so that really pleased Doc. So that was a part of his reason for making me Grandmaster, not just because of it being a tip done, but I had to accomplish this other element, which was very, very important to him, and he really meant that when he said that to all of the students. And as far as the event, it was very, very private and very profound. It was at my home in Vermont when Doc was living with me there, with me and my warriors, and it was just a wonderful occasion. I was absolutely blown away and surprised and just completely humbled by it. Yes.
Very good. I want to add something to that also, Grandmaster. I traveled to your home in 1997, I believe April 14th, one day before tax day, and I can testify to some of the training. And with me and Grandmaster Muhammad, and we drove up from Atlanta to Vermont, and it was you and of course Doc and his family at the time. And man, I can tell you one thing: they had a very special relationship that I didn't see Doc have with a lot of his senior people. And
yes, sir.
Just wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to say thank you for allowing me and Grandmaster Muhammad in your house for the 4 or 5 days we were there. And I can tell you what, the training with Doc one-on-one was amazing.
Yes.
Was amazing.
What you say?
And I wish I was lucky. I wish I was lucky as you were to have Doc one-on-one, because he lived with you, and there ain't no doubt about that. So I had Doc for that week one-on-one, and I was amazed.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead and continue.
All right. So, Senior Master, my next question is, you say in your YouTube video, it is not what the USFA can do for you, but what you can do for the USFA. My question, Grandmaster, is what are the 3 things you would like to see Sanukas Root practitioners do for the Sanukas family?
Oh, great. That's a good question, and it's an easy question. Number one, I would like to see all the Sanukas Root family come together for one purpose, and that is to keep Doc's name and legacy alive. And we can come together under the USFA and make that happen. And no one has to stop doing what they're doing. No one has to stop doing their thing, whatever their thing is. All that we'll do is just add to the pot, add to the mix, and it will help everybody grow. But if we can put all those different little, differences aside and come together for the purpose, see, this is in Doc's heart. This is what he always wanted. I mean, the fact that he even had the Federation set up while he was alive, unfortunately, it didn't get a chance to really take off like he wanted it. But the fact that he put time into bringing it together is something that he really wanted to see. He really wanted to see his family of students come together. So that's one thing I want to see. The other thing I want to see is all of the students and all the supporters and all those that love Doc, students and non-students, for us to get together and create this magnificent building, this museum, like a Dr. Moses Powell Center for Martial Arts Excellence, something along that line, where there's a museum that houses, Doc Gees and awards and trophies and pictures and a room where you can show videos, you can do demonstrations or seminars, a place where people learn about the history of martial arts. I mean, the true history starting in Africa, spreading out throughout the world, and learning about the man, about Dr. Moses Powell and Sanukas system and how it evolved from self-defense complete to Sanukas eye to eye, and really get this history so he can be remembered among the great ones like the Yeshivas and the Oyamas and the Nishiyamas and the Bruce Lees, who, by the way, was a real big fan of Doc. Yeah, big fan of Doc.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
the third thing is to see all the people continue to push Doc's name and legacy, have events, constantly pump it out to let people know that Dr. Moses Powell is alive and well through his students. Those are 3 things I'd like to see happen.
Yeah, and to follow, since we opened the door, for those that are not familiar with the United Sanukas Family Association, give a few brief words about what it is, what it was set up for, and your role as president at this time.
The USFA, again, the United Sanukas Family Association, was set up to unite the Sanukas family. That's where the United Sanukas family come in. And that's what Doc wanted, again. He wanted to unite the Sanukas family. He really was hurt so much by seeing so much division and separation. Everybody running off, doing what they do, and that's cool. He never was against that. But what he wanted was that people can always have a place to come back home and be family, and then we can support each other. So this was put together, started by Doc, and then continued by those of us now who have the mantle of it, so that we can continue Doc's dream and Doc's legacy. And we're going to continue with this until we can do all we can to get all the families to come together in oneness, to come together for the sole purpose of being a united Sanukis family. So that's why we're together. And this organization is the only legitimate organization recognized by Dr. Powell's estate that represents Sanukis and Dr. Moses Powell. So it is an open door, and we would like to see all the family come. In my role as president, the first tenure, particularly the first year or two, it's a difficult year. It's the pick and shovel work, the nasty, smelly work that people don't want to do. You have to lay the foundation. You got to build everything. You got to, go through the learning curve. You got to make mistakes. You got to learn from them. But this is the important phase because it's going to build and set a precedent for all those who come behind me. So I'm going to do all that I can to set the highest standards possible in honoring our teacher and our father, Dr. Moses Powell. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the USFA is not something new. This was actually formed while Doc was still with us, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it was. And it actually was being headed by Grandmaster Charles Allen. And,
yes,
and it got to the point to where he turned it over to us so that we could continue with it because he couldn't handle it by himself. So he turned it over, and now we just continue to move forward to it. With it, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people didn't realize that. But yes, it was together while he was alive, and and even then we had difficulty, with the Sanukis family coming together. But we hope to change that.
Us. Oh, good, man. That's good. That's man. Great hearing that.
Hey, Grandmaster. My next question is this: when you was in the Warrior Within demo, what was it like backstage? Now, particularly backstage, before you and other greats like Grandmaster Little John took the stage at the World Fair. So, like when you guys was back there getting ready to go out and do your thing in New York, what was it like there backstage? And what was it like, when you actually got on stage doing that world, that historical event?
Ooh. Brother, backstage, it was electrified. It was on fire back there. It was so much activity and people practicing and warming up and getting psyched up and getting keyed up, getting ready, to go up there. Doc was like, he get in front of us and say, get out there and make me proud. That's all he had to say. And that's all it took for everybody to go out there and make him proud. It was a beautiful atmosphere. It was a family. It was a unity. It was a bond that was so tight that it was unbelievable. And then when we finally took that stage, it was so exciting, and the butterflies, was enormous. I mean, they were plentiful at first until you made that first move, and then they suddenly flew away. But it was beautiful being on the streets with all the Sanukis family, And think about Toki Lucha, that's my brother. I see him as my brother. He's like my family. He stayed in my home. He ate at my dinner table. You know what I'm saying? So he's my family. And I still recognize him as my brother. So that's going to never change. So, I mean, it was beautiful being up there. And for me personally, it was like, wow, I finally arrived. I mean, I'm in the Doc's elite. I'm finally got myself together enough to where that I can be a part of the elite circle that Doc want to travel with, that he want to do shows with, that he want to do videos with, that he want to do movies with. So it was great.
Wow!
I love
it. Who are some of the other brothers in the Warrior Within in the clips that we see of Dr. Moses Powell and his Sanukis Real?
Man, I would have to show you a list. I would have to look at the tape again and write those names down and send them to you, brother. But man, I mean, it was a slew of incredible brothers, and I was honored to be up there with them.
Absolutely, very good. Did you get to work with? Did you get to work with Professor V at all?
Oh, brother, Professor V used to stay at my home, and he used to train me You know, along with Doc when I was he used to train me, and the thing that was so frightening for me, you know, was that when Professor B used to train me, Doc used to be my hookie, and that scared me to death, man. I tell you, that scared me because I was like, you know, Doc actually busted me up quite a few times because when Professor B showed me something, Doc said, you know, come on, you know, work with me. I was like, oh no, ain't no way I'm gonna try and work with you, you know. And so when he attacked me, and I'm trying to be all soft and slow, man. I said I don't want to mess up and hit him too hard, and then I don't know what might happen to me, you know. But it was so funny. So Doc kind of, you know, nearly knocked me out. He said, look, I'm gonna tell you for the last time, I want you to do it, you know. And that's all it took. Once he did what he did to me, it was no problem from that moment on. But at first, man, it was a frightening experience for me. But Professor V did some amazing things, you know. Just a quick story. We were sitting down having dinner, Doc, Professor V, and myself, my parents. And we had candles on the table that was lit. And so my mother bent over to put the plate down on the table. Now, Professor V was on the far side of the table. Doc was right next to where my mom was at. So her head caught on fire from the candles. Man, before you know it, Professor V had got up, came from the other side of the table, and had put the fire out before Doc could even move. I mean, it was so amazing. Wow. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I will never forget that to this day.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
See, stories like that that make me wish I was a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Just to hear some of those conversations and see that.
Yes, sir. Yes, it was beautiful. I would never forget that time I cherished with him, you know.
Hey, Grandmaster, you know, just to talk on that. So when you was at your dinner table, I mean that's deep, man. I mean, you have Grandmaster Professor Visitation, and then you have Grandmaster Dr. Powell, both eating at your dinner table, both living with you. I mean, no. Let's stop right here. Let's stop right here. Man, what? I mean, like. No, you got to give me some more, Grandmaster. Tell me some more. Tell me, I mean, what? Just talk to me. Talk to me, man. Just talk to me. Tell me something.
You know, it was amazing because what happened, you know, was that I remember when I first he brought Professor V to the house. I mean, and immediately, you know, he had took to me, and so he asked Doc. He said, well, you know, I want to go down with you, you know, more so I can, you know, train him, you know. So Doc said, fine. So he said, look, he said, my teacher want to train you. I said, Doc, as long as it's okay with you, it's okay with me. Other than that, you know, you just let me know what's going on. You know, so he said it was fine. So he would come down and, if Professor B was a vegetarian, all he would eat was vegetables. You know, so he loved my mom's cooking and he loved the vegetables and we would sit around and we would talk. He would talk about the stories about how when he was, back in the war, and he used to do this hand-to-hand combat where he went into this camp of the enemy, and it was 55 enemy soldiers that were, most of them were basically asleep, and he went in there and he took out the entire 55 soldiers by himself. I mean, he told us that story. It was freaking amazing. I got to tell you.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
So, yeah, I mean, he told so many amazing stories about his history and about coming up and about how, things were with him, and of course, there's a lot that Doc shared with me. And one last one on that is that I remember when I was in Atlantic Avenue and I was taking Doc home after class. Professor V had taught that night and he did this amazing stuff with the fingers, and man, I could still feel it. After all them years. And so I'm taking Doc home. He said, listen. He said, Professor V, I want you to become a student. What do you think? I said, Doc, I'm your student. I'm going to always be your student. I said, I'm just your teacher, and I love him. I said, but I'm your student, and I wouldn't do that unless you make me do that. And Doc said to me, he said, you know what, that's a good answer, because if you would have said, yeah, I was going to throw you out the car.
Oh, man.
Like, you gotta be kidding. I said, oh no. I love my teacher, man. I mean, that time, I actually went by the name of Muhammad Shabazz. So a lot of people had knew me as Grandmaster Muhammad Shabazz before I came in the kind of Bushabo, for many years now. But a lot of people still didn't realize the difference in the name, But so Doc, really became my family. We became friends. We became confidants. I mean, he almost married into my family. He almost married my sister. That's how close the whole thing was. And my son and his daughter, we have a grandchild together. So we family, no matter how you look at it.
And if you're family with Dr. Moses Powell, you got some good family.
Yes, sir. I got some beautiful family, and I'm grateful.
All right. Grandmaster, next question.
Yes.
When Dr. Powell came from Florida around 1991, how was his movement different from, let's say, his movements when he was in Warrior Within back in the 1970s? So how was Doc's movements different from 91 versus back in the 70s?
Yeah, when he came from Georgia, actually, when he came from Georgia, Grandmaster, and he went back to New York, and then he had a he was in New York for a few years, and then he ended up with you for quite a amount of time. How was Snookers different from when he had initially left in the late 70s and came back in the early 90s?
Yeah. Doc was doing, he was always electrified, and no matter what he did, he was, just touch and go quick, fast, and he did a lot of throws and was just, really deep into all the throwing and whatnot, And then when he came back in the 90s, he started doing less and less of the throws. He started coming from another place. It seems like that he had tapped into another spiritual part of himself. So Snookers had evolved at that point from where it was to where it was in the 90s. And his stuff was so close quarter combat, up front and personal. And he started doing more of being able to take control of a person. Basically say, once I get my hands on you, I got you, you mine. Once you go impersonate him, you'll deliver yourself to him.
I'm sorry, Grandma. You think Doc was there a spiritual element to Snookers at that time that you recognized? That you said it was completely different. It wasn't just physical art.
It wasn't just physical. See, Doc had got so much more into the spiritual aspect, into where if you really watch him and watch when he began to do his movement, the look in his eyes would change, and he would have a certain energy come over his consciousness, and it's almost like he was being just fed from the divine as he was moving. It's like he told me when he was in Vermont, he said, I don't never know what I'm going to do until I do it, And that's what it was. And it's like stuff was just coming to him in a way that couldn't be physically explained because he had a different depth to what he was doing. Even if he did the same move that he might have done in the early years, when he did it this time, it had a whole different dimension and depth to it. It had a whole different power, but it wasn't physical power, it was spiritual power, so it was a lot deeper. So when he came up to Vermont, and we worked with him, to nurse him back to health and to get him well again and to get him back out to teach him, myself and the Warriors, and then Snookers evolved again. See, it was like 3 evolvements. The way he explained it to me, he said, look, it went from self-defense complete, it went to Snookers Jiu-Jitsu, then it went to Snookers out of eye. See, in spiritual terms, 3 represents the completion. So he had 3 evolvements of Snookers. And so he took it to this other level, which was so amazingly deep because I got tape. Thank God, and I'm blessed. I got tape. Hours of tape with me and Doc of him just teaching and just dropping that knowledge and I got that stuff on tape. And this tape, and this particular stuff that we did during that period, no one has this, So this is really prime. This is like prime real, prime real estate, and it's some amazing stuff, And one day when the time is right, I will definitely, share this information, because he didn't give it to me to just hog and keep for myself, but the whole thing is that he evolves to such a point to where everything moves off of a spiritual energy. And we had a lot of very in-depth conversations. And he told me, he said, I'm a little leery about really becoming deeply spiritual with my students because I don't think most of them would understand, and they may look at me strange, And he said, I'm happy to be myself. And that was the gift, and that was the blessing. He could be himself, and he would just talk for hours upon hours upon hours and about so much stuff. I got 5 years of books in me about information that he talked about. Yeah, so it was incredible.
Wow.
Wow. But that's some deep knowledge. Man, I'm enjoying every minute of it, Grandmaster. Please,
Thank you.
Volunteer more. Absolutely.
Grandmaster, we got our final question. We have 5 more minutes left for this interview. So we're running out with this last one. All right, here it is.
Sure.
All right. You said in your presidential announcement, that the USFA is bringing the pure Sanukas, and that Sanukas is also evolving. What would you consider pure Sanukas? What would you consider pure Sanukas at the highest form on the street level? And because Sanukas was evolving, as stated in your announcement, do you sanction or encourage instructors to build on that pure Sanukas format? And I'm going to let you run out the remaining part of the interview with this question.
Okay. As far as the pure Sanukas evolving, particularly at the street level, see, Doc had always taught me, he said, listen, I'm not teaching you how to fight. I'm teaching you how not to fight. And so the whole point is that supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. And that is the highest evolvement on the street level of Sanukas.
Wow.
So you get to a point, Doc said, with the energy to where that people just feel this flow, this energy coming from you. And so they would dare not try to approach you. And if they did, it is such a place with your excellence, with your energy, that what you do would be something that you don't even have to think about. It's something that just comes natural and normal. You don't have to, the Doc told me, he said, if you got to think, then you dead. He said, you don't have to think. He said, it's just done, and it's over with. So that's Sanukas at that higher evolvement on the street level, and so it's not about going out there proving how tough and bad you is. It's about trying not to fight. And that's the philosophy I live by. I never try to get into anything, So, and then as far as I definitely encourage people to build. Doc wanted us to take what he gave us. He wanted us to create and to evolve and to bring something back home. He said people is always taking from the table, but they're never bringing nothing back. So I definitely encourage instructors to evolve and to continue to work with that. That's what Doc wanted, because if it don't evolve, it's going to become stagnant, and then Sanukas is going to just fizzle out, and we can't allow that to happen. And if I'm allowed to, there's so much that I would love to bring that Doc shared with me during the years in Vermont. It's priceless. And I got so much that I want to give from the heart to all of Sanukas family. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes,
you're listening live to the president of the USFA, Grandmaster Anaconda. And, man, he is dropping some serious knowledge on everyone. And, man, it is a pleasure. It is absolutely a pleasure to hear you.
Grandmaster, we have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. I'd like you to just talk to us, sir. Just give us one water. Just feed us.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. And also, if we can, within the few minutes we have, talk about the USFA. You do have an upcoming election with the USFA coming up, and just a couple of different issues. What's going on with the USFA and the membership drive, and it being about Dr. Moses Powell and Sanukas Rule and him only.
Yes, definitely. We do have the elections coming up for November to either reinstate the president officers and board of directors and president, or to elect another one. And that's going to be coming up very soon. So all the members should be getting something pretty soon, some ballots for them to make a vote. I'm blessed to be able to get a full 4-year term. The first year, was just trying to structure things. And the next 4 years, I really want to be able to do what I can do, because there's a lot of plans on the table, like films, video games, a whole lot of other stuff that we want to do, in these next 4 years. And also, membership is open to everyone. We want to encourage everyone to come, whether you're Sanukas or non-Sanukas. If you're a martial arts practitioner and you know Dr. Moses Power, if you want to be part of something that has integrity, something that's really standing for right, then USFA is a part of that. My job is to serve the people. The members is the people. That's who is important to me. That's the backbone of the organization. And I want to serve the people and let them know that I'm there for them. I'm not a big shot. I'm not a hot shot. I'm one of them. I'm going to always be one of them. That's where it's at. I'm never above nobody. And then in October, now first of all, there is a seminar September 3rd in Baltimore, Maryland. By the DMV Super Sanukas, Shion Terrell Richardson. I'm going to be there as as the main headliner. And I plan to rock that event. I've been really looking forward to this, and God willing, I will be, dropping that knowledge that I got from Doc. So that's September 3rd, Baltimore, Maryland. And then also October 2nd at the Pennsylvania Hotel across from Madison Square Garden, where Aaron Bates is doing this along with his partners, his sponsors. They're doing this tribute to Dr. Moses Power. It's going to be an amazing event. It's going to be huge. This is going to make noise around the world. Already you got people who's going to be participating in the Oriental World Self-Defense, which is going to be the early show. They already want to try to be part of the tribute to Dr. Moses Power. So many people want to be a part of that. We don't have any room for nobody else running. We got so much time. But it will be an amazing event. Yeah, and the thing is, and the tickets is going fast, so, already before they even been made. So once they become available, I encourage people to get them fast. There's only so many sponsors tickets, so many supporter tickets, and there's so many general admission tickets. So they're going to go real quick. So I really encourage people to do that. I will be performing. I'll be bringing my team with me from California. My nephews and my son who always travel with me, they are also professionals under Sanukas. They all train with Doc as well, up there in Vermont.
Grandmaster, we got 10 seconds left, Grandmaster. We got 10 seconds left.
We got 30 seconds. Go ahead. We got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. So just come out there, see the event. We're going to be the last act or the finale, and we're hoping that we can represent Dr. Moses Power and make him proud and put a smile on his face that day. So everybody should come out and support that event, and that's what we look for. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Eye to eye?
Eye to eye.
Heart to heart.
Heart to heart. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yep.